Okay, as you can see, we have our laptop turned upside down. All the screw holes, I've taken the screws out since it takes a little bit of time. Simply screwdriver down inside, pull it out, drag it over and lay it down. And you'll notice that it has a battery which comes loose here. You want to take your battery out. Once your battery is out, turn your laptop over, open it up, and press the start button for about 10 seconds to get rid of the static electricity in that. So now we've got all the screws out of the back side. Next step is we're going to flip it over and take off the keyboard. Okay, now we've got it flipped over, open back up, and like I said before, just push the start button, hold it down 10 seconds. That'll discharge all the battery power and we won't have any static on it. To take the keyboard out, we need something like a knife. Some people use guitar picks, but basically all you need to do is get down inside the keyboard frame here, get a hold of it, and just going to lift it up all the way across. Keyboard is just snap locked in. Once you get it out, turn it over, you'll see the cable. If you pull back on this little tab here that's holding that down, that you can see right there, back and forth, this will come right out of there. We just removed the keyboard. If you ever need to replace a keyboard, that's how you do it, and you don't have to do anything else with it on the back side. You just do the front side to replace the keyboard. Now we're going to remove the screws that are holding the back plate still onto this. So we have our screws are located 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 screws in the front. And we'll take these out. I'm going to keep these separate from the screws I have laying out that we took out from the back because these 5 are all the same size. And when you put them back in, I'll put them in a little dish or put them off to the side. It'll be a whole lot easier because you won't have to search for a screw, making sure one size is shorter than the other. Move around to the other side. We have one right here that we want to take out. Put it over with the others. That's 3 screws. We have one in the corner up here. Take that one out. Okay. Okay, and the last one's right here in this corner. In the top. We'll take that one out. Once that one is out, we've got all 5 screws together. Next thing we want to do is pull back on this little tab here. Get under that little tab a little bit to open that up. There we go. That ribbon will pull loose. Open that one, and this ribbon will pull loose. That takes the entire front loose so that you can turn the laptop back over and take off the back. Okay, now we're going to take the case loose, so we're going to grab a hold of the side of it, snap it, and you can see that it comes open around the sides. Get around the other side, the whole case is off. That's what's under it, including the ribbon cabling that we'll put back later on. This little metal piece here is a protector piece for the corner for the hinge. You want to make sure that doesn't drop out and come apart somewhere. Okay, the next process is 8 gigabytes of crucial memory. Take the 4 gigabytes out. It only has one slot. So I'll take the 4 out and put 8 in. That'll give me an upgrade in memory too. Okay, now to get the memory out, you pull the 2 little tabs here off to the side. Memory pops right out. You take your new piece of memory and you're going to make sure that it goes back in the same way. And as you put it in, you push it down, it snaps in. your memory's in, you're done with the memory. The next part would come your hard drive. We've already put the memory in over here. Processor's over there. We'll take the hard drive out. 2 screws. Take those loose here and lay them beside my other screwdriver so I don't get them mixed up. Could zoom in a little bit more on that so you see where they're really at. The other screws up towards the top. Take that screw out, and then we got the SATA connector right there beside of it, so we've got to be careful with that. So those 2 screws are out. Now the whole hard drive is just loose. If you notice, the SATA connector is right here. Be careful with this that you don't break it and break the ribbon off. You take the SATA connector off, got the entire hard drive out. That's the Toshiba hard drive that came with the camera, or with the computer. Next thing we'll do is take the 4 screws out of the end of it. Place them off to the side. So I'll take that, do that a little bit wide angle so you can see it. Okay, we're going to take these screws out. This is the caddy that the hard drive comes in. And they're very short screws, so I put this towel down with the laptop so that if anything drops it won't bounce and get lost in the carpet or somewhere else. So I turn around to the other side. I got 2 screws out. Back to the other side. That screw out, and we've got 1 screw left. Take that one out. That's the 4 of them. So there's the Toshiba drive. We're going to take it out of the caddy. Just lift it out. Make sure you put the new drive back in the same way the old drive came out. Same settings. Same SATA drive. Now all you need to do is put the screw back in. And you'll be ready to put the hard drive back in its place. Take the very short screws, so you have to pick them up first. Get them in your hand. Make sure you're not going to, like I say, drop it somewhere. Put these back into the hard drive case. That's 2 screws back in. So we got 2 left here. And these screws are super small. Show you what one looks like on the end there. That's the end of the screw. That's the screw right on the end of the screwdriver. It's not even might be a 1/16 of an inch long, 1/8 at the most. Okay, all 4 screws are back in now. And you're going to look at and see the writing on here, Western Digital. But to put this back in, it's going to be upside down because there's only 2 screw holes to hold this in. It's going to lay right like that. But before we do all that, we want to put the SATA connector back. That's the only way you can get it in without ripping that cable off, and it's pretty easy. Then we'll put the 2 screws back together, back in the mounting brackets for the hard drive. It's not the easiest thing to get a hold of, but once you get those back in here, you're 3/4 of the way done on this one, because it's not like the memory and everything else. Memory went in just pulling up a latch and snapping it. Okay, we've got that together. You can see my screws laying around the table here. I put them all where they came out on the back with the battery. So now it's a matter of closing everything back up. We're going to put the back side on it. We'll put the CD drive in last. First we have to match and make sure this goes back together the way it's started. Okay, we're getting the back put back on. Let me widen this out just a little. You can hear it snap together. And they're all back together again. Then we'll put the screws in. Leave the center screw out so you can put the CD drive back in. You go around the edges and just simply put the screw back in just like you took them out. Just put them in. Go all around. Okay, we've got most of the screws back in. We're going to stick the CD-ROM drive back in. This hole, this is the paddle hole, screw hole for that hole there to hold the CD-ROM drive in. Simply slide it back in. Make sure it snaps in, and that center hole will be the very tiny screw. I mean, it is a tiny one. Barely can see it. Let it go down inside. Okay, we've got the back snapped on pretty good. CD-ROM drive back in. Now all we have to do is pick up the screws that you see laying on the side and do this fast forward a little bit. So now we're going to flip it over, go back to the top, open the top up, and now we need to put things back together up here. This is your keyboard, right side up. Here's your ribbon cables. This one, this one, this one. This will slide right into your slot and it'll be locked down. And get in there all the way. Gotta make sure it's in there. If it's not in there, once you get everything buttoned up, why, now we're in. The next one will be your small one. You can see it over here. Let me zoom in on this a little closer so you can see it close. These are just little ribbon cables. This is open. This goes in, and once it goes in, it makes a connection in there. And once you push the top down to clamp it, that's what secures it. But you got to get it in first. And it can be a little tricky. That's solid. So if you tug on the cable and it doesn't go anywhere, it's in. Next big problem is your keyboard cable. This is going to go in the same way it came out. It says up. It says upright on it. So that's the part that's going to go up. Let's back out just a little bit on that. See where we're going to put that cable, which is going to be right here. That's going to be your keyboard cable. And and you can see back here on the keyboard is actually bent already, pre-bent for you. So you can turn your keyboard a little bit sideways. Stick that in its slot. We're going to put back the 5 screws that we took out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have them laying right here. They're all the same size, so it really doesn't make any difference which way they go in or out. But we do know they have recessed pots here for them, So these are a little bit easier to put back than the motherboard ones were. Because you just get them down in there and you can get them started and put them back in pretty fast. This is what secures all that motherboard part, the hard drive and everything we just looked at, to the back where the CD-ROM drive was at, where the memory was at, where the hard drive was at. This one is a harder one to work on because this part has to be removed, these screws, before you can get to take anything out on the other side, or otherwise you won't be able to get the back off, because this is, I'm screwing this down to the back of the piece of plastic off we just put back. Okay, we got two more. One going right here. And that's all the way at the top, and it's just in this silver part that we took the screws out, so that's the only place we're putting them back. And we got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got everything with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we got everything in here except the one screw at the far back hand corner here. Right here, it's the very end. Keep things from being lopsided and I guess shipping and transit and things like that. Don't want anything moving around. Okay, now we're ready to put the keyboard back again. This is the final time we do this. Took it off before to show you how this went back so easy. Now you just lay it down in here and you're going to snap at the corners and at the back. The front is in. It's in all the way around. Your keyboard is all nice and smooth. You can see through there. See all the way around. Your keyboard is tactile and it's in. So I'm going to make sure that's pretty level across through there. Okay, so that's putting all that in. Touchpad here is a whole different story. This takes about a half hour longer just to put the touchpad in. If you ever wear one out, you buy the touchpad, has a ribbon cable to it, and do it the same way we just did this, but you have to take the entire computer apart again to do it. Right now we're going to take the battery. It's got the tines right here. You got to put that back. Once the battery's back in it, we're ready to go. We're going to get our cables hooked up and start it up here.